By the time you finish this sentence, 17 souls will join Hell's waiting room, but here's the twist, not all demons are equal. In fact, Hell's promotion ladder is more cutthroat than Wall Street, and we're about to decode its secret structure. Spoiler, Satan's HR department has a 99% turnover rate for a reason. Contrary to pitchfork and fire stereotypes, Hell operates like a hyper-efficient, albeit diabolical, corporation. Recent infernal anthropological studies reveal a 7-tiered hierarchy where office politics are literal life or death games. This isn't chaos, it's organized malevolence. Think of Hell not as a mindless abyss of suffering, but as a meticulously structured realm. At its core, this hierarchy serves two primary functions. First, it streamlines the processing of damned souls, ensuring that each sinner gets the customized punishment they deserve. Second, it maintains order in a place where chaos could easily reign supreme. After all, when you have legions of demons vying for power, a clear chain of command is essential. So, whether you're a curious soul or someone preparing for the afterlife, understanding Hell's hierarchy is the key to unlocking the secrets of the underworld. Buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into the heart of darkness. Satan isn't just a tempter, he's a CEO. Every morning, as the first screams of the damned echo through the halls of Hell, Satan sits on his throne, a massive obsidian structure adorned with the skulls of saints and the bones of fallen heroes. His daily agenda includes reviewing torture quotas and chairing weekly soul acquisition strategy meetings. It's a busy life, but someone has to run the underworld. Fun fact, his throne room doubles as a war room, with a live feed monitor showing Earth's worst atrocities multitasking at its most maleficent. From the latest political scandals to the most heinous crimes, Satan watches it all, taking notes on which souls are ripe for the picking. It's like a twisted version of a stock market monitor, except instead of stocks, it's human souls that are being traded. Each deadly sin has a CEO. Lust runs the temptation racket. With a team of seductive demons at his beck and call, Lust is always looking for new ways to entice the living into his web of desire. Whether it's through steamy billboards or scandalous TV shows, Lust knows how to push the right buttons. Greed manages the soul mortgage division. He's the one behind the financial crises that have plagued the world for centuries, whispering in the ears of bankers and investors, convincing them to take that extra risk, to make that one more deal. Greed's office is filled with stacks of contracts, each one a soul-binding agreement that seals the fate of the unwary. These lords don't just oversee sins, they innovate. Wrath recently introduced road rage algorithms to boost damnation rates by 40%. By analyzing traffic patterns and human behavior, Wrath's team of demons can now predict when and where road rage incidents are most likely to occur. They then send in their agents to fan the flames, turning a simple fender bender into a full-blown brawl. It's a devilish plan, but it seems to be working. Once celestial elites, now the aristocracy of damnation. These fallen angels live in palaces built from shattered halos and sip demon wine aged in purgatory oak. Their wings, once white and pure, are now blackened and tattered, a symbol of their fall from grace. Their role, advising Satan on high sin strategies. They're the masterminds behind the schemes that manipulate world leaders and engineer existential crises. With their knowledge of the celestial realm and their understanding of human nature, they're uniquely qualified to come up with the most diabolical plans. It's like a think tank for evil, where the only goal is to make the world a worse place. Families like the Asmodeus's or the Belials have dominated infernal politics for eons. In Hell, nepotism isn't frowned upon, it's how you get a plum job in the torture R&D department. The Asmodeus's, for example, have a long history of using their charm and allure to lead humans astray. They're the ones behind the affairs, the scandals, and the broken hearts. Their family secrets are passed down from generation to generation, ensuring that their legacy of seduction continues. The Belials, on the other hand, are masters of the corporate world. They're the ones who whisper in the ears of CEOs, convincing them to cut corners, to exploit their workers, to do whatever it takes to make a profit. Their influence can be seen in the boardrooms of the world's largest companies, where greed and corruption run rampant. In Hell's bureaucratic machinery, the torture division is the engine of eternal suffering. These demons are not your run-of-the-mill sadists, they are efficiency experts, constantly innovating to maximize pain. A 2024 report from the Infernal Efficiency Bureau revealed that personalized torture increases eternal suffering compliance by 87%. Take, for example, the case of a former accountant who was terrified of numbers after a lifetime of being buried in spreadsheets. The demons in the torture division created a nightmarish scenario where he was forced to calculate infinite, ever-changing ledgers, with each wrong answer resulting in a new form of agony. It's like a twisted version of an office job from hell. Quite literally. Ever wondered why your worst nightmare feels so detailed? Thank these desk job demons. They spend hours poring over a soul's memories, extracting the most terrifying aspects, and then engineering tortures that are uniquely tailored to break the spirit. It's a form of psychological warfare that would make the most hardened interrogators blush. Hell's Ledger is a cosmic Excel sheet tracking every sin, and the record keepers are the demons responsible for maintaining this vast database of damnation. Led by Thon, the chief accountant, these demons ensure not a single misdemeanor goes unpunished. Their work is meticulous, with each sin carefully cataloged and cross-referenced. Trivia: they invented infernal compound interest. Each unrepented lie adds a century to your sentence. So, if you've told a few white lies in your lifetime, you might want to start repenting now. The record keeper's office is a maze of filing cabinets, filled with scrolls and tomes that document every sin committed since the dawn of time. It's a place where the past is never forgotten, and every misdeed comes back to haunt you. And just like in the real world, the paperwork in hell can be a nightmare. If you thought your tax returns were bad, imagine having to account for every sin you've ever committed. These demons are the salespeople of the underworld, working on commission to lure souls into hell. They infiltrate Earth as helpful whispers in moments of weakness, planting the seeds of doubt, greed, and lust in the minds of the living. A 2023 case study showed that a single tempter can spike a city's greed index by 22% by planting the idea of one more stock trade or just one more dessert. They're like the ultimate influencers, but instead of promoting beauty products or fitness routines, they're promoting a one-way ticket to hell. Take, for example, the case of a struggling artist who was on the verge of giving up on her dreams. A tempter appeared to her as a wealthy art collector, promising to make her a star if she would just sign over the rights to her soul. It's a classic devil's bargain, and one that many people have fallen for throughout history. The Temptation Squad is made up of a diverse group of demons, each with their own unique skills and specialties. Some are masters of persuasion, while others are experts in exploiting human weaknesses. They work together to create a web of temptation that ensnares the unwary, leading them down the path to damnation. In the age of social media, the Propaganda Legion has become one of the most powerful forces in hell. They run hell's version of social media, amplifying hate, doubt, and despair. Their latest campaign? Convincing humans that hell isn't real, a brilliant strategy to boost soul signups. They spread false rumors, create viral videos that promote violence and corruption, and use targeted advertising to reach vulnerable individuals. It's a digital war zone, with the Propaganda Legion using every tool at their disposal to manipulate public opinion and lead people astray. Think of the last time you saw a conspiracy theory on the internet or a post that made you feel angry or hopeless. Chances are, the Propaganda Legion had a hand in it. They're the puppet masters behind the scenes, pulling the strings to create a world where chaos and confusion reign supreme. The Propaganda Legion's headquarters is a vast, high-tech command center, filled with demons hunched over computer screens, monitoring the latest trends in human behavior and crafting the perfect message to exploit them. It's a 24/7 operation, with the demons working around the clock to ensure that their propaganda campaigns are as effective as possible. In the bowels of hell, there's a workforce that rarely gets the spotlight but is essential to the smooth operation of the infernal realm. The pit workers are the unsung heroes who clean up the mess left behind after the day's torture sessions. It's a thankless job, to say the least. Picture this: after a demon has spent hours roasting a soul over a lake of fire or subjecting it to a never-ending loop of its worst fears, someone has to come in and tidy up. That's where the pit workers come in. They're the ones who mop up the pools of sulfuric acid, Sweep away the ashes of the damned, and try to make hell presentable for the next round of suffering. But here's the kicker, the turnover rate for these poor souls is measured in nanoseconds. It's no wonder. Really, the work is back-breaking. The conditions are abysmal. And the pay? Well, let's just say that eternal torment doesn't exactly come with a hefty paycheck. Fun fact, the river Styx, that famous waterway that separates the world of the living from the underworld, is actually 70% demon tears. And a significant portion of those tears belong to the pit workers. It's a river of sorrow, a testament to the endless drudgery and despair that these demons endure. Every time they think they've finally finished cleaning up one area, another soul arrives, and the cycle begins again. It's a never-ending nightmare, a Sisyphean task that will haunt them for all eternity. At the entrance of hell, a different kind of laborer holds the keys to the kingdom of darkness. The gatekeepers are the bouncer bureaucrats of the underworld, responsible for checking the IDs of incoming souls and ensuring that only the truly damned are allowed in. It's a job that requires a unique blend of toughness and paperwork. Take Cerberus, the three-headed dog of Greek mythology. Once a fearsome guardian of the underworld, Cerberus has now joined the Union and spends his days complaining about overtime, instead of ferociously guarding the gates. He's more likely to be found sipping a cup of demon brew coffee and checking his watch, waiting for his shift to end. But don't let his laid-back attitude fool you. Cerberus and his fellow gatekeepers take their job seriously. They pore over long lists of sinners, cross-referencing names, and verifying the nature and severity of their sins. Missed a sin on your resume? Denied entry. Even hell has standards, low as they may be. If you're not a big-time sinner, you might just find yourself waiting in line for an eternity, hoping to make it through the gates. And it's not just about keeping out the unworthy. The gatekeepers also have to deal with the occasional soul who tries to bribe their way in or argues that they've been wrongly condemned. It's a never-ending stream of bureaucracy and bickering, a headache for these demons who just want to do their jobs and go home. In the strange and twisted world of hell, there are creatures known as sin-eaters. These hybrids are cursed to consume the excesses of the damned, acting as the garbage disposal unit of the underworld. It's a fate worse than death, condemned to a life of eternal gluttony and indigestion. Imagine being forced to eat every sinful thought, every wicked deed, every ounce of greed, lust, and anger that a soul has committed. The sin-eaters have no choice but to gorge themselves on this spiritual waste. Their stomach's a bottomless pit for the sins of others, but it's not a pleasant meal. The sins they consume are like a toxic sludge, filling them with a sense of nausea and despair. Recent health reports show that a staggering 99% of sin-eaters suffer from eternal indigestion. Their stomachs are in a constant state of turmoil, a never-ending battle against the overwhelming amount of sin they've ingested. Satan's HR department, in its infinite cruelty, calls it a pre-employment hazard. It's a sick joke, a reminder that in hell, there's no escape from suffering, not even for those who serve. The sin-eaters are a tragic sight, their bloated bodies waddling through the corridors of hell, their eyes glazed over with pain and misery. They're a living testament to the consequences of sin, a warning to all who enter the underworld that there's a price to pay for every wrongdoings. Not all demons in hell have a physical form. Some, like the phantom torturers, exist only as psychic constructs, designed to haunt the souls of the damned with their worst memories. They're the projection professionals of the underworld, using the power of the mind to create a virtual reality of torment. Think of them as hell's version of a haunted house, but instead of cheesy jump scares, they're armed with the most terrifying aspects of your past. The phantom torturers can reach into your mind and pull out your deepest fears, your most shameful secrets, and your most painful memories. They then project these images and sensations onto your consciousness, creating a never-ending nightmare that you can't wake up from. For example, if you were a serial cheater in life, the phantom torturers might create a scenario where you're forced to relive every moment of betrayal over and over again. You'll feel the guilt, the shame, and the anger of those you've hurt, all while being trapped in a never-ending loop of your own making. It's a form of psychological torture that's even more effective than physical pain. The phantom torturers can break the strongest of spirits, leaving their victims broken and defeated. And because they don't have a physical form, they're almost impossible to escape. You can run, but you can't hide from your own mind. In the heart of hell, where screams of agony are the background music and torture is the daily norm, there exists a tiny, almost unnoticeable faction known as the Neutralists. These demons are the pacifists of the inferno, the black sheep of the demonic family. While their brethren are busy devising new ways to inflict pain and suffering, the Neutralists have chosen a different path. Instead of participating in the never-ending cycle of torture, they run support groups for repentant souls. Picture this, a dimly lit room in the depths of hell, filled with souls who have finally seen the error of their ways. The Neutralists, with their gentle demeanor, offer words of comfort and understanding. They listen to the sinner's stories of regret, their tales of a life wasted in the pursuit of evil. Satan tolerates them barely. It's like having a vegan at a barbecue. It's not exactly a welcome sight, but they're there, and you have to deal with them. Satan sees them as a necessary evil, a token minority that can be used for public relations purposes. After all, even hell needs to look good in the eyes of the universe. When the occasional celestial visitor drops by, Satan can point to the Neutralists and say, "See, we're not all bad. We have a group that's trying to help these poor, lost souls." It's a stretch, but it's better than nothing. But the Neutralists don't let Satan's grudging acceptance get to them. They continue their work, quietly and steadily, believing that even in the darkest of places, there's always room for a glimmer of hope. They're the unsung heroes of hell, the ones who dare to go against the grain and show that there's more to the underworld than just fire and brimstone. Once upon a time, they were among the most glorious beings in the celestial realm, their wings shining with the light of heaven. But then, they made a fateful choice. They joined Satan's rebellion, lured by the promise of power and freedom. And so, they fell from grace, plummeting from the heights of heaven to the depths of hell. But not all of them were happy with their newfound home. Some of these fallen angels, now known as the fallen, began to regret their decision. They realized too late that the allure of power was nothing compared to the peace and purity they had left behind. Trapped between heaven and hell, they found themselves in a no-man's land, with no hope of redemption. These poor souls now work as interns in the record-keeping department of hell. Day after day, they pore over the ledgers of sin, documenting the transgressions of the damned. It's a thankless job, filled with endless paperwork and the constant reminder of their own failure. But they do it, hoping against hope that one day, they'll be granted a celestial pardon. Spoiler, it's not happening. Heaven has closed its doors to them, and hell treats them as second-class citizens. They're the walking wounded of the afterlife, a reminder of what can happen when you make the wrong choice. But still, they hold on to their dreams, their eyes fixed on the distant hope of a return to the celestial realm. It's a futile hope, but in hell, hope is a precious commodity, even if it's nothing more than a mirage. Hell is a place for demons and the damned, a realm of eternal suffering and punishment. But there's a strange group of non-demons who have made it their home, the ghosts of regret. These are human souls who loved sin so much that they just couldn't let go. Even after death, they refused to move on, choosing instead to squat in hell's waiting rooms. Imagine a group of souls, their forms translucent and their expressions filled with longing. They're like addicts, unable to kick their sinful habits. They cling to the memories of their earthly vices, reliving the moments of greed, lust, and anger that brought them to this place. But now, they're stuck, unable to find the peace that comes with true repentance. Demons hate them with a passion. To the demons, these ghosts are like unpaid interns who won't leave. They take up space, they cause a commotion, and they contribute nothing to the smooth operation of hell. The demons have tried everything to get rid of them, from threats of eternal torment to offers of a one-way ticket to oblivion. But the ghosts of regret are stubborn. They're determined to stay in hell. even if it means spending eternity in the waiting rooms, surrounded by the screams of the damned. It's a sad and pathetic sight, a reminder that sometimes the hold of sin is so strong that it can even follow us into the afterlife. These ghosts are the living proof that some vices are just too hard to shake, even when faced with the consequences of our actions. Hell may be the underworld of our nightmares, but it's not the only one. In the vast multiverse, there are countless other dimensions, each with its own version of hell. And sometimes demons from these parallel dimensions find themselves in our hell. It's like a cosmic mix-up, a case of wrong place, wrong time. These interdimensional squatters cause all sorts of problems. Hell has its own rules and regulations, its own way of doing things. But these don't care. They have their own agendas, their own methods of torture and torment. And when they clash with the native demons, it can lead to some very awkward situations. Take, for example, the case of the demon of Dimension X. He showed up in hell one day, unannounced and unwelcome. He had a unique way of torturing souls, one that involved a combination of laser beams and mind control. The native demons were horrified. They had never seen anything like it before. And so, a debate ensued: who pays the torture bills? The demon of Dimension X claimed that he was just doing his job, that this was the way things were done in his dimension. But the native demons argued that he was breaking the rules, that he needed to adapt to the local customs. In the end, a compromise was reached. The demon of Dimension X was allowed to stay, but only if he agreed to follow the basic rules of hell. It was a tense truce, but it seemed to work, for now, at least. But everyone knew that it was only a matter of time before another interdimensional squatter showed up, causing more chaos and confusion in the already chaotic world of hell. In hell, the power structure is maintained by a set of cosmic laws that are as unyielding as the fires of the underworld itself. The most fundamental of these laws is the first edict: no eternal overthrow. This rule is the ultimate safeguard of Satan's reign, preventing any demon from simply killing him and taking his place. Imagine the chaos that would ensue if there were no such rule. Hell would be in a constant state of civil war, with demons vying for the throne in a never-ending bloodbath. But thanks to the first edict, the demons must compete in a more civilized manner. Instead of resorting to violence, they engage in sin audits and quarterly performance reviews. These sin audits are no joke. Demons are required to submit detailed reports on their sin-promoting activities, complete with graphs, charts, and spreadsheets. The auditors, a group of particularly sadistic demons, pore over these reports, looking for any signs of inefficiency or underperformance. Quarterly performance reviews are even more intense. Demons are called before a panel of their superiors and grilled on their performance. They must justify their actions, explain their failures, and present their plans for the future. It's like a job interview from hell, except the stakes are much higher. The last demon who dared to challenge Satan's authority through these means lost by a mere 0.01 damnation rate. It was a heartbreaking defeat, and the demon was immediately demoted to pit worker. He now spends his days cleaning up the messes left behind by the other demons, a far cry from his former glory. Another crucial law in hell is the balance of pain. This divine failsafe ensures that hell can't empty earth of souls too quickly. You see, hell's economy is based on the suffering of the damned, and if there are no souls left to torture, the whole system collapses. It's like a twisted version of supply and demand. If hell becomes too efficient at collecting souls, the supply of sinners on earth will dry up, and the demons will be left with nothing to do. To prevent this from happening, there's a sin speed limit in place. Demons are not allowed to tempt humans too aggressively or too quickly. Satan, of course, hates this law. He's always looking for ways to increase the damnation rate and expand hell's territory. But every time he tries to push the limits, he's slapped down by the cosmic forces that enforce the balance of pain. It's a constant battle between Satan's ambition and the need to maintain the delicate balance of the afterlife. In hell, the demons are constantly bombarded with propaganda that promotes the idea of progress through suffering. It's a twisted ideology that has taken root in the infernal realm. convincing the demons that the more pain they can inflict, the better they are as demons. One of the ways this propaganda is spread is through Hell's version of TED Talks. These seminars, held regularly in the depths of the underworld, feature presentations on topics like maximizing despair through Excel and why your torture technique needs a rebrand. The presenters, usually high-ranking demons, share their tips and tricks for increasing the suffering of the damned. Employees are encouraged to attend these seminars, and those who don't are often subject to ridicule and punishment. The goal is to create a culture of innovation and competition, where demons are constantly striving to outdo each other in the art of torture. But the truth is, employee morale is low, the work is exhausting, the conditions are terrible, and the rewards are few. Many demons are just going through the motions, doing the bare minimum to avoid being punished. But the fear of eternal demotion keeps them working, trapped in a cycle of pain and despair. In Hell, the class system is as rigid as the laws that govern the underworld. But there are ways for ambitious demons to climb the ladder and achieve a higher status. The most obvious way is to torture 10% more souls than your peers. This is no easy feat, considering the high standards already in place. Demons must constantly come up with new and creative ways to inflict pain, pushing the boundaries of what is possible. Inventing a new sin is another surefire way to get ahead. The demons are always on the lookout for new trends and vices that they can exploit. Right now, the hot new sin is crypto envy, a form of greed that arises from the world of cryptocurrency. Demons who can successfully promote this sin are sure to earn the favor of their superiors. And then there's the art of backstabbing. In Hell, office politics are literal. Demons will stop at nothing to gain an advantage over their colleagues, even if it means betraying them or stabbing them in the back. There are countless resources available for demons who want to learn the ins and outs of office politics. From books on how to succeed in Hell without really trying to online courses on advanced backstabbing techniques. It's a cutthroat world, but for those who are willing to do whatever it takes, the rewards can be great. A promotion in Hell means more power, more prestige, and a better chance at eternal happiness. So, you've made the unfortunate trip to Hell. Now what? Fear not, because even in the depths of the underworld, there are ways to survive and maybe even thrive. Here are some insider tips from a demon who's seen it all and decided to turn over a new leaf. In Hell, it's not just what you know, but who you know. The right connections can mean the difference between eternal torment and a slightly more bearable existence. Start by schmoozing with the record keepers. These demons hold the keys to your past sins, and a little flattery or a well-placed bribe can go a long way. A box of celestial-grade chocolates or a rare demonic artifact can make them more inclined to lose your worst transgressions. On the other hand, avoid the pit workers at all costs. They're the overworked, underpaid laborers of Hell, and they're always one bad day away from a meltdown. If you're looking for a favor, they're not the ones to ask. They're more likely to take out their frustrations on you than to help you out. Networking events in Hell are not for the faint of heart. Demons gather in smoky, sulfur-filled rooms, exchanging business cards and plotting their next moves. It's a cutthroat environment, but if you can play the game, you might just find yourself with some powerful allies. In a place where everyone is trying to out-sin each other, standing out can be a challenge. But there's one surefire way to get ahead: specialize in a niche sin. Basic greed and lust won't cut it anymore. You need to think outside the box, or in this case, outside the circle of Hell. Consider mastering existential dread for millennials. With the rise of social media and the constant pressure to succeed, this sin is in high demand. You can start by planting seeds of doubt in the minds of young adults, making them question their purpose in life and their chances of ever achieving happiness. It's a cruel game, but in Hell, cruelty is the name of the game. Another emerging niche is artificial intelligence-assisted manipulation. As AI becomes more prevalent in our lives, demons are finding new ways to use it to their advantage. Imagine a world where AI algorithms are designed to target vulnerable individuals, leading them down the path of sin without them even realizing it. It's a terrifying prospect, but one that could earn you a lot of points in Hell's hierarchy. Just because you're in hell doesn't mean you have no rights. Well, sort of. There are a few loopholes and procedures that you should be aware of, although they're not exactly easy to navigate. If you think you've been wrongly condemned, or if you just want to complain about the quality of your eternal torment, there is an appeal process. But don't get your hopes up too high. You have to file a complaint with the Infernal Ethics Committee within 10 Earth years of your arrival in hell. That's right, time works differently here, and you have to be on the ball. When you file your appeal, make sure to bring bribes, celestial relics, such as a fragment of a saint's halo or a feather from an angel's wing. Work best. The demons on the committee are just as corrupt as you'd expect, and a little gift can go a long way in swaying their decision. The appeal process itself is a long and arduous one. You'll have to present your case in front of a panel of demons, who will listen to your arguments laughing at you behind your back and then make a decision. The odds of winning an appeal are slim, but it's worth a shot if you're really desperate. Contrary to popular belief, there is no easy way out of hell. Once you're in for eternity. But there is a glimmer of hope, although it's a very slim one. Satan offers a get-out-of-hell-free card to demons who achieve a 100% damnation rate in a single lifetime. That means every single person you tempt must end up in hell. Only 3 demons have ever qualified for this prestigious honor. And what happened to them? They're now Satan's most trusted lieutenants, living in the lap of luxury and enjoying a level of power and privilege that most demons can only dream of. So, if you're feeling ambitious and you think you have what it takes to be a super sinner, go for it, but be warned, the competition is fierce, and the consequences of failure are dire. One slip up, and you could find yourself in even more trouble than you already are. Hell's structure isn't just a demonic design, it's a reflection of human society's worst impulses: greed for power, fear of insignificance, and the endless quest to dominate. By understanding its layers, we confront a truth more chilling than any torture. We've been building our own hierarchies of hell on Earth, the upper echelons of hell, with their power-hungry demons vying for control, mirror the cutthroat world of corporate boardrooms and political arenas. The middle management, with their bureaucratic red tape and focus on efficiency, are reminiscent of the faceless offices that govern our daily lives. And the frontline workers, toiling away in thankless jobs, are a harsh reminder of the inequality and exploitation that exist in our own society. Even the forgotten ranks, the rebels and outsiders, have their counterparts in our world. The neutralists, with their desire for peace and understanding, are like the activists and pacifists who strive to make a difference. The fallen, filled with regret and longing for redemption, are like the people who have made mistakes and are trying to find their way back. So, the next time you feel the urge to cut a corner or let greed guide a decision, remember, Hell's HR is always hiring. And trust us, their onboarding process is a nightmare you don't want to experience. As we close this infernal guide, remember that hell isn't just a place of fire and brimstone, it's a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that the choices we make in life have consequences, and that the hierarchies we create can either lift us up or drag us down. So, choose wisely, for the afterlife may be closer than you think.